Have taken active steps with respect to use of animals raised for food in order to protect them against the forms of cruelty that are already inconsistent with American anti-cruelty laws. And there's a great deal that could be done just by borrowing on existing European practice to reduce some of the harms caused to pigs, chickens, and other animals. We ought to ban hunting, I suggest, if there isn't a purpose other than sport and fun. That should be against the law. It's time now. With the previous speakers, I believe that human interests certainly count in the overall balance, but most of the time the problem is animal interests are not counted at all. They have zero weight. In the long run, if this is correct, our willingness to subject animals to unjustified suffering will be seen, as Bentham and Mill thought, as a form of unconscionable barbarity, not the same as, but in many ways morally akin to, slavery and the mass extermination of human beings.
My coming view is that the individual right to bear arms reflects the success of an extremely aggressive and resourceful social movement, and has much less to do with good standard legal arguments than appears. We have seen an unbelievable transformation in the culture of the Second Amendment in a short time. As late as the early 1990s, consider, for example, that part of the law of the District of Columbia that requires citizens to keep lawfully owned shotguns bound at home by a trigger lock. Suppose that a citizen objects, as citizens have been objecting, that the trigger lock interferes with his efforts at self-defense against criminals. What on earth does that have to do with the Second Amendment as originally understood? My tentative suggestion is that the individual right to have guns, as it's being conceptualized now, is best taken as a contemporary creation and a reflection of current fears, not a reading of civic-centered founding debates. Modern gun owners who are invoking the Second Amendment on the basis of a principle they favor are perfectionists, not so different from older people who tried, unsuccessfully, I'm pleased to say, to get the Equal Protection Clause read to strike down mandatory retirement laws. Well, in terms of judicial developments, it is striking and noteworthy that well over 2 centuries since the founding, the Supreme Court has never suggested that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to have guns. Not once. It would be amazing, though, given that fact, though don't be surprised if the first time it happens is in the next 3 or 4 years.